Thursdays with the Doc, John Maakaron, publisher, All Lions, and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. My good friend, our good friend of the show. We appreciate you joining, John. How you doing today? How you feeling?
Man, great morning. Looking forward to talking football. Lucas, I hear you're going to the land of the Yayo. Do us a favor. Take Troy Weaver with you. Take him with you, man. Take him with you. It's a disaster for the Pistons. Let's talk about something more positive with the Lions.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a good one, John, to start off. Hendon Hooker, he's officially back, and you guys had a chance to talk to him. It's funny because we're excited about Hendon Hooker. Some would say we hate Jared Goff, but I want your thoughts on it. Just him finally getting a chance to suit up, get shoulder pads on, go against this defense, finally get tested against NFL players. Your thoughts on him officially getting able to do all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody was intrigued to kind of know how Hendon Hooker has been developing. Obviously, a key, when you look at one of the key positions in all of football, it's the quarterback position, and it's always hotly debated. People always would say that the most talked about position in sports is the backup goalie for the Red Wings and the backup quarterback for the Lions. And I looked, Brad Holmes wanted to develop a young quarterback, and now we get an opportunity to get him out on the football field. When you're on the NFI list, you don't have an opportunity to practice against NFL caliber opponents. So for Hendon Hooker, this can only expedite his development with the Lions, and it can only be a good thing. I look at Hendon Hooker and the kind of caliber player that he is. I think he brings an element that this Lions offense really would benefit from if he could play out on the field, and that's the ability to extend plays. You saw the challenges that Jared Goff had when he struggled against the Packers. When plays go off script, he's just a disaster. Things have to be exactly perfect. Now, Jared Goff is a stellar quarterback, but Hendon Hooker, I think, brings an element to the game that a lot of teams really covet, and that's the ability to scramble and extend plays. So now he starts his opportunity, and it'll be interesting to see how he moves forward. But you're absolutely right, Jeff. He's not going to play NFL football in a real-life game this year.
No, absolutely not. And John, I want to piggyback off of that a little bit because it seems like, especially in the last couple of weeks, the sentiment surrounding Jared Goff amongst Lions fans has went from being happy with him to it's dropped to quite a level that I haven't seen in a while, including from myself. I've been very unhappy with Goff the last couple of weeks, except for the final 4 minutes of the Bears game, and even for the last 5 games to some extent, if you include the pick 6 against the Raiders and leading the offense to 6 points against the Ravens. Is it fair of us, or are we? Is there a validity to our concerns when it comes to Jared Goff and maybe him not being the guy long term?
Look, obviously we're all going to point to how he does in the postseason, but you got to remember, 8-3. This is the captain of this defense. It was built around him. So I look at the player that he is, and does he have kind of a ceiling? Yes. But I look at the caliber that he is in regards to his relationship with Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously the development of Sam Laporta. Guys, we can't discount what Jared Goff brings to the table. This is a legit NFL quarterback, but obviously he's limited. And I think, opponents can figure out how to get him rattled by pressuring him. But I do think that now it's been targeted. I can't wait to see how Goff performs against the Saints, who are tied for 4th with 20 takeaways, 14 interceptions. So I look at it like now you've identified an issue, obviously, with ball security. Let's see how he performs the rest of the season. But we can't discount the skills that he does possess. A savvy veteran, and I do think that his working relationship with Ben Johnson has allowed this offense to succeed. And you can't discount the things that he does well. Yeah, he is limited. He's never going to be Lamar Jackson, but he does have the skills needed to win a lot of regular season games.
And John, I want to bring this up later, but a couple of things that I think the Lions need to key in on, at least for the New Orleans Saints. And by the way, man, the Saints defense, even with the guys they have currently out, You talk about takeaways, John, they're tied for 4th in takeaways. So we talk about this, how the Lions need to win the turnover battle. It's been something they've struggled with. I mean, you talk about some games this year. They've won the Panthers game. They forced 3 turnovers, but there's been games where they've won losing the turnover battle. I mean, they beat the Raiders. They turned the ball over 3 times. They beat the Bears. They turned the ball over 4 times. And then you got 2 teams that will get you if you turn the ball over. The Seahawks, they lost that game, and then the Packers, they just lost that game. So where are you at? I know the importance of taking care of the football, but the Saints defense on the road, this is another chance. But the Lions, man, they're going to get tested this week, I think, John, especially defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see, I think that obviously this is a game that Dan Campbell and the coaching staff is gearing up for, having been part of that staff in the past. But I look at it like you got a Saints team that's desperate, that obviously wants to rebound. Terrible performance against the Falcons. I look at it like you got to play to your strengths. The Lions have to run the football. They have to get back to their dynamic duo of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think a key that you guys obviously are keening in on is you want to play with the lead. I think if you have an opportunity to get out in front, then that kind of maybe puts pressure on Derek Carr and the Saints. Yeah, they do have obviously a stout defense that can force takeaways, but they're abysmal against the run. And so I think the offensive line for the Lions, after a really shitty performance against the Packers, I think hopefully Jonah Jackson gets back out there. That really is key for the Lions. I do think the Lions offense is going to play at a very successful rate. The issue I would see is, can the Lions defense step up and make some plays?
Yeah, that's big time. Lucas, and before I give it to you, John's spot on, by the way. Lions rushing offense, they're 6th in the NFL right now, 136.9 yards per game. Saints run defense, they're 23rd right now in the NFL. It's a mismatch. Credit to John.
Take that, especially with Jared Goff struggling. But you know what else might help Jared Goff struggle? He's back. TK85, John. He is back. When you hear this news, tell me why Tom Kennedy is about to save the Detroit Lions season, John. Let us know.
Playmaker.
Playmaker, huh? The most popular guy amongst Lions Twitter. Man, it is crazy. It is really interesting to look at if you just step back for a second. Yesterday we write about Hendon Hooker, writing about Jared Goff, things like that. One of the popular stories that comes out is TK85 signing with the practice squad. And you all want to talk about Tom Kennedy? Let's talk about Tom Kennedy. The single greatest bench warmer in the history of the Lions organization. I think that, for the practice squad, he deserves practice squad MVP. He sits there at his locker quietly. Nobody talks to him. He can handle his business. TK85, a real popular guy, huh? Look, in the end, it's unfortunate for Dylan Drummond. His opportunity comes to an end. But you look at it for Kennedy, he's just the guy that, look, in the end, you can see why the Lions would like to have him around. Reliable, hardworking, kind of that
Gritty.
Mr. Try-Hard guy. Maybe kind of like you, Lucas, kind of that guy that maybe is a little underrated, but if given an opportunity, maybe down in Florida or something,
He takes
maybe
the
he'll have
most
an
of it.
opportunity. Makes the most of his opportunities. So, look, guys, in the end, Tom Kennedy ain't seeing the field. When you look at it, we got more important things to talk about. But if you want to give TK his shine, look, I'll say this. I think that probably more people need to talk to him. He's a little bit difficult to talk to at times, but I'll say this. For the things that he does, he can maximize his ability by hopefully staying healthy and developing here in this offense.